Ladies and gentlemen, big hairy news.
Hey, kia ora koutou whānau, and welcome back to Big Hairy News Friday edition, Bright Hairy News with myself and Magenta. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Been having a bit of a bad insomnia bout, so like I'm existing on the opposite time zone to everybody. But you know,
Feel that.
so good morning, everyone.
I very much feel
how's
that.
things going?
I'm tired. And probably also getting a bit sick. So tonight's gonna be fun. I'll do my best, but I might clock out after. I don't know. Let's try and get to 10. I think I'm just gonna run through my main story for the night, which I think is a semi-positive news story, and then we can do some memes. Meme it up.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, let's
Then-
go for memes.
Yeah, memes all day, every day. I think we need it this week. It's been I don't know about you guys, but like I'm tired.
It's been a heavy week. It's been a heavy week. We do have extra memes. I was struggling to keep it under 50. So, you know,
Wow.
yeah.
Well,
been a
hey,
big week.
the worse the week, the better the memes. Something like that, no?
Something like that. We've got to get something to
like
get us
that.
through all of the not so good news.
Yes, very much so, very much. Well, hi everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope the boys have kept you entertained. And you're looking forward to a lovely regular weekend. I always hate it after a long weekend because you're like, oh, just 2 days. And I have
Right?
to go back after 2 days.
Is this it?
Is this all it is? I love that they did matariki. Oh, I was at matariki last Saturday. I went to the matariki
yes.
event here in Christchurch. I forgot about that. That's so long
I mean,
ago.
it's been such a long week. What did they do? What did they do for it?
So the last time I went must have been like 2 years ago, where they had it in Victoria Square, which is sort of centre city, nice wee square area. And it's kind of like the back side of it is an area they can do food carts and stuff like that. And they had some really cool, like, they had these giant cubes. There's like this light exhibition thing that you walk through, and it has like lights, and it plays like one of the stories of matariki, and yeah, there's this really cool I don't know what you call it, the marae entrance.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, the words just blanked on my fucking
Whatever,
brain.
if someone can visualize what I'm talking about.
What?
There's a light up LED version of it that they've made.
Oh
and
yep. We had something similar.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? But they had pretty much the same stuff this year, but they moved it just into the art centre area, and they just sort of broadened it, so you can go to the art centre, and they had like live music and stuff, which was really cool.
Nice.
And you could go to the food market in one of the other places. So it was great. It was great. And the other thing they had was inside of the big, I don't know if it's cathedral or church. I wonder if it is a church, in the art centre area, where they did this massive projected, it was kind of like storytelling through art. There wasn't really any like, it was sort of sounds and music and thing, but it was telling the story of one of, I don't know. I'm not very well versed with matariki stuff, but again, another one of the myths and legends of matariki.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, there's some awesome stuff. So I'm glad that I went. Had delicious food.
I mean, it's nice to have something like that during the colder months too, I reckon, just kind of get you feeling a bit more warm and cozy, even if it's not exactly feeling warm and cozy.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say before, is that I'm glad that they made matariki a public holiday, because it's kind of, it's there was a bit of a, what do you call it, a desert, public holiday desert, where
Oh
it was
yeah,
like
yeah. No,
King's birthday and then nothing till like September or something.
oh yeah. Well, it's always bad too because it's always so condensed. Like especially at the beginning of the year, like
Yeah,
it's like a gradual build into the year, and then you just get a solid period of no long weekends. But I mean, us
yeah,
Kiwis have a long weekend, and
we're very
I'm
lucky.
for getting rid of some of the other holidays we have and just replacing them with Kiwi holidays. You know.
That's true.
I
It's
think it would
true.
be cool to actually have other holidays be a bit more relevant to this country. Like, I
Yeah.
don't really feel like Easter is as relevant when we've got so many other things we could celebrate. Guy Fawkes also takes part on same day that Parihaka happened. So, there's
Oh,
heaps of
okay. Well, that's not even a public holiday, so I mean, we could we could shove that aside, and
exactly lots we
it's
could
just
do.
very, very British colonial things that we've taken on board. But hey, things can
Yeah.
change. Matariki might just be the beginning, you know?
Oh,
We're getting
absolutely.
there. All right. Well, I'm going to do something different this week, and we're going to start with the memes.
Different. Oh,
Actually, no, we're not going to start with the memes. I think we
okay.
first need to say,
Yeah.
I've changed my mind actually. I'll prep
Ah,
you. Okay,
yeah.
so now you're prepped for the memes.
All right, I'm prepped. Oh,
We most certainly do need to say a big thank you to our patrons, obviously.
hell yeah.
I have a big specific thank you to our patrons for a lovely gift that was sent to me
Yes, I
on
heard about
behalf of
that.
patrons.
How
Yes.
sweet.
Yes, I was very, 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 very grateful to all of you guys. I guess not necessarily the monetary patron support, but also just the community support.
Yeah.
We've had lots of wonderful comments and things, and when I went to the Labour budget thing a couple of weeks ago, met some people there, and they were all very complimentary of the show. I saw
Aw.
someone today who was like, "Hi, I watch you," and I'm like, "Yep, sounds about right."
Yeah, it doesn't sound great without the
No,
context.
no, but that was great. So it's always nice
No,
to
totally.
meet people out and about, and
Exactly.
yeah. So
Well, yeah, and I
if you'd
mean,
like to,
I'm sure you also saw that we
sorry,
had a bit of a BHN meetup, so it's always good we actually had some new people come this time too, which was awesome. And they were obviously, it was really exciting just to see everyone come together and chat and have yarns. And obviously Raijin, who is a patron, was there, and it was awesome that we got to hang out. And they gifted me, I don't have it on me right now, I left it in the other room, but
ooh,
they gifted me SingStar mics with the adapter. So I'm very excited to
I
try
got
and get that going.
I got the tip on that one. I
Oh,
was told to
she's
keep it
conspiring behind my
secret.
back. Oh, you got secret.
I had secrets,
No, and
but
that's
that's
the
cool.
thing is, that's what I love about this community. We can have talks about politics, or I know some of the people have been trying to be like, oh, how's your dress going? Dress
Mm,
updates, life updates. It's great.
it's good. Yeah, no, you're all amazing. If you would like to join us on Patreon, though, if you can. Patreon member, you get interviews before. If they're pre-recorded, you get them before everyone else. And there was a Patreon meetup when the guys were in Auckland, which was
Yeah.
very, very, very lucky. And the other way that you can support us if you really want to is the BHN shop. And I can't remember if Pat has got any. Has he still got his deal on? I think he does.
Nah, deal's over.
Oh, deal's over, guys. He needs to update
He said you can
needs to
try the
update
code,
stuff.
but it's not gonna work.
There you go. There you go. But yes, the BHN shop is the other place to that you can support us if you'd like to wear our merch or put our stickers on your car, or I don't know.
Other
You can do whatever you
places.
want with the stickers. Car's a great place.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a few pictures of people finding us in the wild.
Yeah, love that.
We
I've
can
got a
wear
sticker
some
in
merch.
one of the bus stops here on Courtney Place, and it's still there. It's been there for quite some time, and every time I see it, it's just like, nice.
Nice. Nice. We like it. We like it.
Yeah.
All right, meme us up to start off with.
All right,
What makes us
meme.
up?
Well, we're going to start with actually we're going to start with this and we're going to end with this
Yes,
because
sounds good.
Kiwi Burb, who is an absolute fucking legend, has brought to us an amazing piece of art. They apologize for it not being colored in, which I'm like, bruh, the fact that you've done this in this
This
amount
is
of
the hard
time,
work.
like this is stunning.
It is
I also
stunning.
thought for well, I'll obviously say it for the audio listeners, kua hinga te tōtara I te wānui a Tāne. And that is the tōtara has fallen in the forest of Tāne. So for anyone who's not sure why that's kind of a saying, obviously the tōtara is a huge tree that grows for hundreds of years. For one of them to fall is a great tragedy. This proverb is used when someone of importance has passed away. I'm sure that like a lot of people have seen this around and might have been wondering what it meant. So I thought I might just, chuck that in there. But yeah, amazing, amazing artwork and just blown away. We'll start with this one. If you think having uncomfortable conversations is hard, wait until you see the results of not having them. And I think that is a very good way to put things into perspective. Before you're on my crew, what do you think of J.K. Rowling's transphobia? You mean her sexism? That's a damn fine answer. Welcome aboard. Which I've never seen this take, and you know what? I fucking amazing. Level up. Okay, so one of the most vital ways we sustain ourselves is by building communities of resistance, places where we know we are not alone. The antidote to fascism is the antidote to despair, is the way we get by, is the way we build community, is our power. And I think that's what we're all kind of have been definitely saying a lot more, especially recently, is that, like building these communities and teaching people and getting awesome people who come on the show and tell us all their amazing wisdom. Just, it's awesome. I love this t-shirt. Diversity hurts no one, you stupid orange fuck. Just beautiful.
I'd like that. Who was wearing it too? It's always nice to
Right?
be. Is it
I thought you'd
subversive?
like
No.
this one too, because
Whatever
obviously
works.
it's a bit topical. Me, Zohran Mamdani. Is this what hope feels like? I think I've been seeing a lot of posts like this of just like, oh my god, it's capitalism. It's an oppressive state. Is it both? American flag. I hate it. This one got me, especially because of the fact that the Mark Mitchell is based off the Matt Damon. But yeah, don't worry, we saved you from a terrorist attack. Like the fact that this show is kind of not even satire anymore at this point. Also, Kai Matata posted this one. Leftist memes be like, and I mean, it came from the right person. And this actually, it was more of a kind of commentary that I just wanted to say is I think it's fucking insane that food can be bought on things like Afterpay or anything like that. How have we gotten to a point in society where instead of questioning why people can't like pay for food, instead we just go, make them put it on a loan. Just, I don't know. It's fucking gross to me. And then I guess this one we can end on something very disturbing how the US names its weapons after Native Americans it genocided, like trophies, and then uses them to further colonize and subjugate other people around the world. And I mean, this is very much what they've done on purpose, is that they've used names of the indigenous, peoples with something that is aggressive and oppressive in order to kind of make it, you don't think about it, but subconsciously your brain goes, and makes these associations. Got some pretty not fun memes this week, but we do have a lot of non-political memes. Don't worry. We'll get to the positivity.
Nice. Sorry, something stuck in my throat. Keep talking.
I just was like, what am I saying? Keep talking? Okay, let's go for another meme then, amusing to watch Dems get upset over Trump's $54 billion defense hike when they had no problem with Sanders' $75 billion per year free college plan. Someone replies, amusing to watch my wife get upset over my $54 samurai sword when she had no problem spending $75 on groceries. There you go. Buffer.
Well done. Now I have cat here after coughing into my. Oh, Jesus. All is well in this world. Right, biggest news story for me. This is the biggest news story internationally, especially in America, and I feel like I don't know if it was really covered here in New Zealand, but to me it stands out because it's exciting and it keeps reiterating a point we keep making, and that is Zohran Mamdani, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, won the mayoral election race, or at least he ran the first, I think they call it a primary, so he's technically the winner, but they do like another one to confirm, I don't know. It's a whole system, but yes, he has won. He has won on the basis of calling himself a democratic socialist. Which is big scary socialist, might as well be a commie, sort of stuff. But he was very open about calling himself that. He's also a member of the Democratic Socialist Party, so that kind of makes sense. Alongside, I think Bernie Sanders is, but AOC is also part of that.
Yes.
So there's a few people that are elected in government type stuff who are part of it. It's not a party as such. It's kind of like it's a group, kind of like a union group, kind of, and they kind of help get messages out about, people that align with their values, that sort of thing.
Also, there's a quick clarification is that the primary is basically the internal election. So now he's allowed to run for that, and hopefully, most likely, I guess, because it seems like he's quite popular.
I mean, yeah,
quite well supported.
Please tell me if I'm wrong, but it's pretty much guaranteed, right?
Well, not guaranteed, but I guess heavily implied.
Heavily implied? I'll look into it. Well, at least people who know slightly more than this are pretty much saying it's a win for him. So.
Yeah, because he just gets the ability to be the candidate for the Democrats. So it'd be kind of like if the Greens were say Greens, TPM, and Labour were all like being like, okay, who's going to represent us or whatever, and then they get to basically they're allowed the official title in turn. Just sort of like how you choose your leader for your party, even. But then they're not guaranteed to win the elections. I guess that's probably the easier comparison.
Although New York's been a Democratic city, right, for a long time. They've been represented by the Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe they are.
Yeah, okay.
Strongly.
Right. But a Republican won't win. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It's like it's not guaranteed just because he got the spot, but like again, heavily implied.
Yeah, okay. I was on the right track. I'm like, it's not. He didn't win the. Yes, okay, yeah, we're all on the same page here. Okay, cool. Anyways, it's a big upset, anyways, because Cuomo was back in the race. Cuomo was Andrew is his brother, isn't it? Or is it Andrew? One of them is his brother. The other one's the actual. Former.
Oh yeah. So.
No, it's Andrew. No, never mind. Yeah. It's Andrew. I was thinking there's two of them.
Yeah, there's a journalist called Chris Cuomo.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Like, no, there's also him. He was the former mayor of the city. He resigned, if not sort of forced out of office, when there was a bunch of. I don't know if there was definitely allegations against for sexual behavior, sexual misconduct, assault behavior in his administration. So he was somewhat disgraced and told to leave, essentially. But somehow decided to run again, which is insane. But yeah,
I mean, is it
So
really that
that was
insane when your president is a sexual harasser and was friends with Epstein? Like, we live in the worst fucking timeline. He probably thought, you know what? I probably got a chance. If old Donnie can do it, maybe I can do it.
he's also was he former mayor and he was definitely governor, but was he also former mayor? He was no, maybe he wasn't former
Lawyer
mayor.
for
Maybe it's
the
just
United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
anyways. Disgraced Chris Cuomo. Not Chris. Disgraced Andrew Cuomo was running again. He was the top pick because he is quite well known and very high up in the Democratic Party, but he lost essentially against Zoran, who was a bit of a nobody. He was painted by just about every corporate media faction, definitely the New York Post, that as a commie, as anti-Semitic, just about anything under the like, just absolutely
The
threw
thing,
everything
yeah.
at him, yeah, to discredit him, and he won on a very grassroots type movement. Knocking on doors, 55,000 volunteers, very, very small financial budget. So on very, very progressive policies. And that to me is pretty cool.
Mhm.
And it also aligns quite a lot with what we're seeing around the world. Albanese ran on some somewhat more progressive policies. Um, uh, we saw who else ran recently with progressive policies and won. There was someone else.
Canada.
Was it? No, it was Canada, but it was probably more so the threat of Trump.
Yeah, true. That's
That,
fair. That's a fair
but
point.
yeah,
Nah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think of
Um,
who's had things. Votes. Bleh.
there was something else. I'm sure we've talked about it. Yeah. So there's some pretty good signs around the world that we're seeing progressive, very strong progressive things like the anti oligarchy tour that's done really well, anti-Trump rhetoric, well, not rhetoric, sorry, anti-Trump, no kings movement, that sort of stuff is growing around the world, somewhat thanks to Trump, I think, weirdly enough, and whether or not it's the same thing over here, if people really see what our government is doing is quite similar. Not sure yet. I don't know if we've quite learned the lesson yet, but it definitely says that a campaign on progressive policy, on tax reform, all of those sorts of things that
Oh yeah.
that we keep asking Labour to get on board with.
Yeah.
ASAP,
I
please.
mean, it does seem like they finally fucking clicked. I mean, it's been great to see like the No Kings protests and marches, but my brain almost goes, where the fuck was this during the election, guys? Like, I'm glad they're finally like getting the fucking message and they're coming, but it does feel like somewhat a little late. I mean, better late than never, don't get me wrong, but it does seem like I'm glad they're finally realizing, and I hope that, like, at least here in New Zealand, since we are a little bit further back in the timeline, we've got a bit more time to hopefully actually not end up where they're at. So that's what I hope.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna go two ways. We can either see the same thing happening here and change it before it happens, or we're just gonna learn the lesson of oh, it can't be that big, and yeah, not change it before it gets even worse. So, yeah, some pretty cool stuff. But the reason I would like to talk about this is the CNN interview that he did after he won,
Okay.
which I think is quite interesting because it's a continuation of some of the attacks that he was getting in the sentiments and the stories that were kind of being pushed about him. And it also he's really good at communicating, and he's also really good at bringing it back to the policies. And I don't know if it's because of the interviewer that he was being interviewed by, But sometimes looking at the stuff, I'm like, geez, there's a lot that is in parallel to what we see in our media.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty. Media's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I mean we already do. I mean, look at fucking New Zealand Herald half of the time. Like they've
Yep.
been falling into the clickbait fucking shit since God, it's been so long. Like I feel like they've been doing that for at least 10 years now, if not like a little bit longer. Like I
Yeah.
mean, we do at least still have RNZ, but then we see them kind of obviously looking at having cuts due to funding. And yeah, it's just we are I mean, that's what happens when the money it's like no, we're not supporting what we need. And I mean, why would they support the journalists who report on how bad they are? Very confusing.
When you can cut them down to size and keep the fourth estate slim and people less informed. Right. So, to give you a quick rundown of the general things that he was campaigning on, he was looking at rent freezes for nearly 50% of New York apartments, free bus services, free childcare for kids under 5 and under, and city-run grocery stores, which is like, ooh,
Yes, I
very
heard
similar
about
to
that.
something we've heard about over here too. Yes, very interesting stuff. But I'll run you through a few of the segments. This is probably going to get entirely demonetized, so let's fingers crossed I don't get hit
That's
too
why
hard.
we love the patrons for their support because if the YouTube videos get demonetized, it's all good.
So we'll start off with the ooh, government-owned groceries. Ooh, scary. And we'll play through this. Of note, communism.
Communism.
Just communism. Ooh, ooh. Government-owned
Great
grocery
video
stores.
skit
Ooh.
time.
that has no guarantee of cheaper prices or collective bargaining agreements or even accepting
So you're
SNAP or
not
WIC.
looking at some like Soviet Union grocery stores on every corner that are going to be run by the government.
No, what I'm looking at is how to solve the very clear twin crises of affordability when you go to the grocery store and food deserts, which disproportionately impact Black and brown New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, where I've heard directly from New Yorkers who say, why is it that I can find 6 fast food restaurants in a 5-block radius, but I can't find a place to buy groceries?
But five boroughs, 5 grocery stores. But that can't be the goal.
Well,
So already a win. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was somewhere in the campaign policy, or in their policies was because he does say he's going to start small and then grow up, but like surely more than 5, right? New York's a big city.
Right?
But we'll let him answer this.
well, I mean, the idea
Is the
of
goal you want them on every? I mean, but in New York things do go. There's a nail salon on every corner. There's a grocery store on almost every other corner.
I think ultimately I'm guided by outcomes. If this pilot succeeds in guaranteeing cheaper groceries, as I think it will be, then yes, it should scale up. If it doesn't succeed, then no, it shouldn't, because what New Yorkers want are results. And then it comes to making buses free and universal childcare.
Right.
These are things that cost around $700 million and let's say about $5 or $6 billion. Significant amounts of money.
Huge amounts of money.
But have to be understood in the context of a $113 billion municipal budget, a $252 billion state budget. And we put forward a plan to pay for these and more to start Trump-proofing our city through 2 major revenue streams.
Yep.
Increasing the top corporate tax rate of New York to match that of New Jersey, that raises $5 billion, and increasing income taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers who make $1 million or more a year by 2%. Both of these things, after they come to fruition, you're still paying less than you did before Trump.
Okay.
He's a fantastic communicator. He knows his shit. Sorry, this is at 1.25 speed, so he's not talking like super, super, super fast. I'm just hopefully trying to get around the algorithm, if I'm lucky. Yeah, so very, progressive stuff. He knows his numbers. I love that he's like in context. This is what it means in context. Big number, small number. It's really not going to cost us that much. And then brings it onto the taxes, which is the next wee bit, and you'll see a lot of parallels between what the general sentiment is here in this interview and in America about taxes and corporations and that sort of thing, and what we see here about taxes and corporations. But on that, any thoughts?
I mean, I actually just it's kind of refreshing to he kind of almost gives me Chloe vibes, but like American Dude version of Chloe, which is just
Yeah, very much.
I think catching me off guard because I'm just so not used to seeing as that many. Well, especially like they didn't do the best job. Obviously, a lot of the Democrat stuff that happened with the the wider elections. But I mean, it's really nice to see that. I mean, New York is obviously Democratic, and I mean, it's the home of Broadway, so like, no surprises there. But and as people have said, it's a very diverse place. So I mean, it's amazing also the fact that he's addressing food deserts. I think that is something that not enough people know about, let alone talk about. It's also like kind of goes hand in hand with that whole fast food thing, like the fact that, you know, in areas that have predominantly lower socioeconomic earners, they can have access to all this, like same here, you know, a lot of the time a fish and chip shop's closer or a dairy is closer than like I
Vape
have to
shop.
take a bus so far just to get to a Pack and Save, and that's mostly like, it's not like we don't have supermarkets here, it's just they're the more expensive ones, you know. Like, so, and those things, you know, they really, really affect what a person can do, how much a person can have. And I also love the fact that he's like, look, I'm pretty confident in this and I think it'll succeed. But if it doesn't, I'm also fine to say, nah, move on. Like, that is so reasonable. And I think we need to see more of that in all terms of politics, of being able to be like, look, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best idea. And you know what? We'll give it a trial. And if it doesn't work, then sweet as, let's try something else. But
Yeah, this idea of like it's not a done deal. I'm flexible, you know. I don't know.
the ability to adapt.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm making this up or I could be wrong here, but a lot of the national sort of stuff is this will work. It comes across of this is the way to do things. This is how we fix things, and I don't think there's that much of a flexible.
It's more
approach to
authoritarian.
things.
Whereas I would
Yeah, I
argue
suppose
this
so.
is more
Yeah.
authoritative, could be considered more under authoritative, even, because obviously those are two very different things. And like, yeah, I just think it's something that I would like to see out of more politicians. You know, I think unfortunately we have this weird kind of energy where a lot of people have kind of, because we basically have a two-party system, even under MMP, because we've just made it two groups of other smaller groups. I think there's still very much that kind of just intensity. We have to only be like, we figure out what we want, and then that's the only thing that can ever happen. We can never just compromise or things. Like, no, actually, if anything, if you can actually reflect upon mistakes that have been made, like same way we saw with Jacinda and a lot of her messaging over her tour of like being reflective and introspective, and then also being able to have the genuine courage to actually just admit that. Because I think a lot of, I'd say every single fucking person on this earth often have problems just admitting when they're wrong. And just going, look, I was wrong. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm just going to admit that I'm wrong and move on. You know?
Yeah.
I'm saying this as someone who also doesn't do that very well either. But, you know, I just think
we all have our blind spots.
Yeah. It's good to see those traits actually being, I guess, displayed. And, you know, that way people can, you know, model off of this behavior. Because the same way, like, a lot of this conversation with Tory this week was centered around the actual attitudes that people have. I think that is one of the biggest problems, is our politicians, especially here in New Zealand at the moment, their attitudes are fucking ugly. And people are acting ugly. When really what we needed to be doing is actually just kind of having more messages like, say, you know, Te Pāti Māori and the Greens do. There's more of a, okay, here's the problem, but also here's the solution. Whereas a lot of the right, they just go, here's the problem and you should be mad about it. And then let us do whatever the fuck we want to do. Like,
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Right. So the next part is we're talking about corporate tax rates, and it follows a lot of the narrative that we get here about if you increase the tax, they'll leave. Pretty much. Well, that's pretty much it. Take away the taxes, increase the taxes, tax paying people will leave. And Zoran's got some really fun facts to evidence. Data, to back up why it's worth doing.
on the city tax, though, and I know that takes effect with people right now, that top rate of people 50,000 or more. So if you're going to be adding 2% to people at $1 million, that I just did the math, right? Well, but that's going to be an increase of 51% of what they pay now. I'm not saying cry for them. I'm saying if they leave, you're not going to get that money. And when you increase someone's taxes by 51%, aren't a lot of people going to leave?
We're saying.
So she says, this is the weird thing, right? Okay, so she says of people earning over $1 million, which is a 50% increase. And I'm like, what? And then she says, and I'm like, what's the math here? I can't figure it out. I can't find that number anywhere. I searched in articles. I couldn't find that 50% anywhere when she originally said 2%. And I'm not sure if she meant to say $50,000, which if you're earning $1 million a year,
Yes.
50,000 is not a huge, I mean, it's a considerable amount, but it's not, for someone earning $1 million, it's not a crazy big number. If that was, I don't know, if you were earning $1,000 a week and it was, no, that doesn't even work. It's not a lot of money. But then he corrects her and says, no, it's 2%, and then later says it's going from 7% to 11%. Do you know how tiny that number is?
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
I don't even know how. Anyway, I just thought it was a weird thing. But he doesn't really he does some great things about the numbers here.
And we're increasing it by 2% of what it is right now. And ultimately, I'm guided by the facts. The Fiscal Policy Institute did an analysis of the top 1% of New Yorkers and found that they leave the city at 1/4 the rate of other income categories. And when they do leave, they leave to what are called high tax states, New Jersey, California. So what it then comes down to is, why are they leaving? Is it fiscal policy or is it actually quality of life? And I've heard that time and again from wealthier New Yorkers, from all New Yorkers.
So it's talk. They're going to go to Florida and all you think is talk.
In 2021, when I came to the state assembly, we had the same fight to fund public schools, to raise tax on billionaires and corporations. We were told millionaires would flee.
Yep.
And we now have more millionaires.
Okay, so the New York Times is saying that Mayor Adams is trying to gather
facts.
Just okay, facts. But we have more.
Yeah. So it's already showing there that I mean, it's New York City. Like, you have to remember that if you increase the taxes, even just incrementally, you're still talking about one of the economic hubs of the world, where you can live lavish lives, where you can rub shoulders with the best of the best. Like, no one's going to be... I don't think there's that many people that are going to go, oh, the tax rate's gone up by 2%. Oh, I don't know if I want to live here anymore. Like, there are more reasons that people move to and from cities. And sometimes it's not just one thing, it's all of the things. Like what he's saying, if you increase the tax rate, but you get better services, then it's worth sticking around. I think the thing that we would find here is that, if they increase our taxes, but they don't give us the hospital that we need. And I think people are finding that, right? They're paying more for everything, but they're not getting anything back in return.
No.
If they increase our tax rates, I think all of us would go, ugh. And I think the rates is another one, right? Everyone goes, oh, rates, it's already so expensive. But then if they then saw less potholes around the city, or they saw that the infrastructure was better and the buses were faster and there was more, if those sorts of things piled up as a better city, people kind of don't notice the tax rises as much. And it needs to be incremental as well. And we'll talk about that later in my second story. Yeah, but it echoes the same thing that we've heard here. Oh, if we increase the corporate tax rate to more than what other cities and countries around the world, from 28% to 30% or whatever the Greens want to do, they'll all leave. It's like, there's more reasons than that to stay in New Zealand. New Zealand's a pretty cool place to live.
I mean, Jeff Bezos is rented out part of Italy for his fucking wedding. I don't think he gives a shit. He has so much money. That's the same reason why a lot of the time when you see these companies getting sued and stuff for people literally getting killed, but the payouts, I don't know, sometimes in the millions, maybe in the few millions, when that company has the billions of fucking net worth and profit and all that shit, it's just a drop in the bucket. Those things don't actually affect them. The only reason they want us to think that actually affects them, because they don't want to have to if they don't have to. But they don't fucking notice it. They don't need it. I mean, the fact that billionaires exist is just should not be acceptable when we have so many children, just even children in poverty and homelessness. There's no way that one man should be able to hire out an entire fucking city or whatever the fuck he's done just to have a stupid wedding while people in that country will have people who are starving and hungry. Like, it's just fucking stupid.
So the second part of this on corporate taxes is someone in the hedge fund manager or whatever, someone in that kind of market's like, oh, but if you tax businesses more, they won't be able to create the prosperous. It's the foundation of the city. They can't create these prosperous businesses that can trickle down. So that's sort of bullshit. So I'll play this next bit.
Or business leaders to support him to say this is going to be bad. And Bill Ackman, billionaire hedge fund manager, of course you know of him, New Yorker, he said he agrees with you that the city's broken, okay, but he has a real problem with your economic policies. He said the ability for New York City to offer services for the poor and needy, let alone the average New Yorker, is entirely dependent on New York City being a business-friendly environment and a place where wealthy residents are willing to spend 183 days, the amount you need to be taxed, and assume the associated tax burden.
Entirely dependent on New York City being a business-friendly environment and a place where wealthy residents are willing to spend 183 days here.
Businesses need people. It's not the other fucking way around. It's literally demand, then supply. It doesn't, like, yes, there are some ways that you can create an interest for something. Don't get me wrong. But in general, they need us. We don't actually need them. We've also just kind of, a lot of us, unfortunately, have also been, raised in this, and we've bought into the lie of capitalism. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Like, who uses those roads? I don't know. Everyone? Who should contribute to them? Everyone? But also, if you've got that much money that you've made off the backs of other people, let's be fucking real. People don't get higher by just being better humans. That is something that they've tried to make us believe, and that, people have cognitive biases. When you see one positive trait in another person, you are likely to attribute other positive traits to them. Therefore, because we see wealth as something as positive because it brings you these things, you put all these other associations with it. But that's just not simply the case. These are people who are just taking advantage of other people and finding any way that they can squeeze out whatever they can out of somebody else's hard work. Like, it's the people that make the businesses run.
Well, would you like to hear what Zohran has to say about this?
Hell yeah. Let's go, brother.
Unfortunately, both have already started making arrangements for the exits. So you just think that isn't going to add up. And by the way, that corporate tax rate that you're talking about, that's a big increase.
That's matching 7.
Again, big increase. 7.25% going up to
25% going to 11.5%. And the point of it is that if it works for our regional neighbor, why can't it work for us? And with Bill Ackman, this is someone who put $500,000 into Andrew Cuomo's super PAC, someone to whom clearly money is not an issue. And ultimately, even for him, life would get better. Because what I'm looking to use this money for is to make the quality of life across the city better.
Okay, so when people say democratic socialist, right? And I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like
Oh yeah, this is funny.
capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors. And we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
Okay.
I didn't mean to play that bit, but I was just like, damn, I could listen to this guy speak all day. The whole thing of like, so you're anti-capitalist? Just like, I mean, I don't like capitalism, but I have a lot of critiques of it. I don't know if it's played in the parts that I pulled out, but he does. He does talk about later about. I think she says something like, "People come to America for capitalism. They have," which is. And then she conflates it with people come here for a better life, a better job, and to make their money and like prosper and like
Yeah,
generally,
this
but
stupid
like
American
they're
dream
forced.
shit.
Yeah, the American dream and the Kiwi dream as well is very much the same. But they're forced into capitalism, and they like he was saying, it's this idea that there is no other system, but there is another system, and we don't have to
Oh, yeah.
continue the system we're in, and we can take the bits we like about capitalism, and then we can add the bits that we like about other systems and get something that's a little bit more balanced. So
Yeah. I mean, Chloe talks about it a lot. I know that her and Craig were talking about it a little bit in the episode of Locked Out this week. I mean, and I'm very much on board the same messaging of like, we feel like this system is just something that we just have to participate in and we just can't do anything else. It's like, no, this is a construct, because guess what? Most things are. We as humans have created the system, and we as humans can change it. The same way we can say, I was wrong. That didn't work. Maybe I should try something else, you know? Maybe the capitalist can go, look, maybe we didn't get all of it right. Here's the bit you like. And then the socialist can go, well, here's the bit that we think will go good with that. You know, like, it's frustrating that people feel so powerless in a system that is literally run by everyone. The problem is that it's just become inaccessible to most of us. Most of us have not been taught anything about politics, and it takes people who are fucking politics nerds like us and people in the chat to go, hey, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? And guess what? We can sometimes be the smarter people, because that's the other thing I think that people kind of take for like don't really think about, is that your lived experience does give you expertise, especially if, say, you've lived in an area, you know, for a really long time. You can be an expert of your own community, of your own, whether that be, you know, your block, whether that be an entire little village. You know, we can be our own experts in certain areas. That being said, that doesn't mean that we're epidemiologists or anything like that. But it does mean that we have expertise and value to add to a conversation. Hence why, like, I know Duncan consistently is talking about, this is why the submissions process is so important, because it doesn't matter if you're just a grocery supermarket worker or you're just this. You are a part of this system, you pay taxes, and you have the right to have a say on the things that happen in this country. We've just kind of been left out of it, so we don't really think about it, and then it's really complicated to get into it.
yeah. There's an interesting conversation. A nice mix of economy is a good thing. The base of capitalism, the base of socialism, and any other system where I can't think of the name right now. Yes,
Yeah.
there's
Isms.
there's lots of isms, but I think that's fundamentally where I sit as well, is that you can have all the systems working together. I think it's when you become really dogmatic and you choose one, it breaks. That's the issue with something like the pure. So when people were like communism, they're probably thinking more of like the very like literal like, what do you call it? The pure communism, I guess, in a way. Like, you know, everyone gets thrown the job and they get paid the same amount, and like you do what the government tells you to do, the government will provide all of their needs, and it's like that's very it sort of restricts your freedoms and things like that. And then communism changed in areas. I think there was like I was reading a video on it one day. It was very fascinating how there was part, I think it was Yugoslavia, and then there was kind of like a coalition between a few countries, and they kind of changed communism. And I think it was either Slovenia or Slovakia were the ones who managed to tweak the system into a perfect system. And then I think they disbanded it for whatever reason. But they got the closest to a perfect system. It was kind of a progressive socialist type thing, UBIs, but it also had like capitalism. So you had like a really well-running economy. I don't know, I'll see if I can find the video, but it's quite interesting. But there are parts of communism that are good. There are parts that are bad. There are parts of capitalism that are good. There are parts that are really bad. But you also have the capitalism before New Age capitalism, I believe it was. I can't think of the guy's name who changed it, but it went from becoming a market of a cheaper product, cheaper quality, more affordable, higher value product, higher quality. So you
Yeah.
kind of had people that could afford one or the other, but they still were able to buy what they needed, as opposed to expensive and shitty quality to make shareholders more profitable. You know, that sort of thing, as opposed to evening out your costs. So there are critiques of all of the systems, all of the isms, as you say.
I also think I agree with this comment. Communism has never truly been tried. Like, they say it's a communist nation, but the true communism has not actually been at least recorded by our modern society, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of different, and this thing is like,
But
even
perhaps-
in terms of different types of ways of being together, like that's what the matariki project by was set to do, is that it was like, okay, you have this system of, you know, Maori with tikanga and different things, and then you have the kawanatanga sphere, and then they also, a lot of the models tended to have a third sphere where they basically could connect together and work together and stuff. But there are so many different ways to do everything, democracy, all the different policies, and it's scary to think about big changes. But like, let's be real, this fucking late stage capitalism bullshit is not fucking working. It's only getting worse. And at this point, something's got to change. And it has to be probably something fundamentally quite big, you know, like UBIs, or, you know, more, I guess the supermarket as well, you know, like that's having, like getting those kinds of things as something that the government is able to help with providing for the people is important. We should not tolerate the fact that it's just like, cool, we're just letting people profit off of people's need to live and eat and be housed, and then sometimes get fixed up. Like, it's psychopathic, really, to think that that's just something that we tolerate at all. It's not very human focused. It's very, I guess, meritocracy kind of based, you know, where it's like this, oh, well, you have to earn or do this much or suffer this much. Like, even the way that like people talk about uni students being like, oh, well, you know, just having 2-minute noodles and stuff, like, you know, that's what we did. It's like, well, guess what? 2-minute noodles are fucking expensive now.
They are.
Can't buy cans of tuna for cheap anymore either.
I
So
know.
people live off like tuna and that kind of thing. That shit's actually crazy expensive. Like, and God forbid you want to have a fucking coffee. The prices of coffee at the moment. People are complaining about butter, but fucking coffee is pretty fucking horrible too. Like, it's just, these things need to change because they're fundamentally broken. And the system is literally built by us. We pay to keep it going. So maybe we should change it a little, because we're not getting our money's worth at all. If anything, our money's being taken and given to other people. Really.
The critique of communism is very well deserved, for sure. But I was going to say, perhaps we've never seen communism has never been truly tested because perhaps its major downfall is it does lead to things like dictatorships. Or
I don't think it itself leads to it. It's that people are corruptible. People can be assholes. It's the people that are the problem. The people that tend to run these things are not doing it with the right intentions or meaning. Because, like, if you're going to run a true communist society, you have to actually care about the people that you're providing for. You have to actually genuinely want to do that. Not just siphon off whatever you can so that it's essentially just like having a king again.
Yeah. That's guess that's just the world we live in.
But we can change it, and we need to fucking change it. Because that's the other thing too, is that we can't get this complacent. Because, like, I've even seen, you know, a lot of the attitudes and the ways that people even talk about our government. You know, we're like, oh, Christopher Luxon, he can't keep. Isn't it so funny? Honestly, it's not that fucking funny anymore.
No.
Like, it was a little bit funny when we started doing the memes, but at this point, I'm just like, this guy's going to earn $2 million by the time he leaves office. And somehow New Zealanders think it's acceptable. Like, what if Jacinda Ardern let any of the Green Party, like the Green Party leaders, or I guess New Zealand First leaders, what would people be saying if she was being that weak? They would be calling for her fucking head. But why is it acceptable when this bald man is being completely incompetent, that we're paying him to be incompetent? And honestly, we're paying him to not even be here half the time. He's never there at question time, especially when it's important. He cares more about his fucking international flights where he, you know, took a Kapa Haka group to China, which it's awesome that those people got to have that trip. And I am so glad that at least something good comes out of that. But he's going to flaunt the haka while he's traveling around the world, yet Te Pāti Māori ministers get suspended. And yet David Seymour's not getting suspended for bullying actual members of the public, not even just politicians. Like, it's infuriating that this is just something that we all think is kind of okay now because we're tolerating it. I mean, not all of us, like, especially us here. I think we definitely don't tolerate it. But I think there's too many people who are just going, ha ha ha, weak bald man. When really, if this was Jacinda, people would not. They would be kicking up such a fucking stink about it. But I'm just very frustrated at how fucking bad things are.
Would you like to bring him back?
Yeah.
Would you like me to bring him back? One of the things I did know about this, and I don't, it kind of annoys me because it's a thing we see as well, and it's a way to discredit his eligibility and his ability to do the role, or his qualifications is what I was looking for.
Yes.
Because he did rapping for a little bit. He had a rapping career. And I guess there's two ways that you can look at it. You could see that he's being discredited, which you definitely can see that. So he's being undermined. You could also look at it because they put down the bottom afterwards on rise from rapper to Dem star. It could be a point of like difference, but I generally get the sentiment that this is a way that they're trying to minimize his ability, his qualifications for the role. And I'll show you afterwards because I had looked into it what his past was after this.
Once you do it, it's out there. It never comes back. It's there.
Didn't think it was going to be on CNN.
It's there, and there it is. So what do you say to people who look at your background and they wonder? They say, okay, rising star you may be, but this is the largest city in America, $112 billion budget, 8 million people, and a hell of a lot of problems. And they say, okay, whatever the future may be, you're not ready now.
I would say that a campaign offers a glimpse of what an administration would look like. And we built a campaign the likes of which the city has not seen in a long time. We started with 2 full-time employees and now are managing 50,000 volunteers. At the beginning of this race, there were questions of whether we'd get 50,000 votes. And yet we had 50,000
volunteers.
50,000 volunteers who knocked on 1.5 million doors, made 2.1 million phone calls. And ultimately, it's a story of not only being able to inspire people, but absorb that inspiration and build an organization. And I think that's also the story of what it means to run a city, that you are ultimately responsible, but you're also determined by hiring the best and the brightest. And that's what I will be doing in City Hall. I'll be hiring those that have a clear track record of excellence, of results that come from a wide variety of mayoral administrations, and finally bring public excellence back into the public sector.
All right, so
could you imagine if we did that? Could you imagine if we had people qualified in their roles, doing doing the things that they're experts at?
Yeah, using their lived and studied experiences. I mean, wow, that's just something you would never see from this government. Being your finance minister has an English degree.
Well, at least, so does Grant Robertson. Do you know what was different about him though? He had Craig Reddy in his ear the whole time. And
exactly, surround yourself with experts.
Say what you will about, this current government will blame them for everything. But there is I think we could all say we had a pretty good economy while Grant Robertson was leading, and he had Craig in his ear. So if Craig is
Amazing,
speaking
because
to the
we
likes
went through a
of
pandemic.
Greens, I know, and we went through a pandemic, and we still came out like the best in the world. It's pretty good.
Exactly. Because Craig Rennie's that fucking good. And Grant Robertson was that willing. Because that's, again, what I'm saying is, instead of being like, I know it all, I'm the smartest fucking person, he's like, I know that I need Craig in my team because he is the man when it comes to these numbers. Well, maybe Nicholas should stop locking him out and maybe like actually fucking listen to him.
No, because he's too lefty. He's part of the unions.
Oh, imagine though her dirty little secret's actually that she listens to his podcast.
I highly doubt. I think she hate watches it, if that's anything. But
yeah.
There's the last little bit, and then we're done for this. Good luck to all of the all of my ad review. Right at the end, there's a bit of a switch up, and I kind of appreciate this wee bit because she comes back to the Democratic Socialist and things like that, and she does point out that he has run a campaign that's very similar to the likes of Bernie and AOC, and a lot of their and the similarities between him and AOC running a very grassroots campaign and becoming the representative, not the governor. She's a representative for the state, and the success of their oligarchy tour as well. So, and what he thinks of it, and whether or not this means a shift for the Democratic Party, which we're all
fucking better be.
We're all fucking just, you can do it. You can do it, Democrats.
Send to our party.
So there's now talk, that your victory puts her in a whole new light, right? It puts her and Bernie Sanders, not that they were seen as fringe, but they were seen as a wing of the party. And that instead of being a wing, that becomes more of the center, and that you are part of that. Do you see it that way? And do you see those who say, look, your victory propels her to a presidential run in 2028?
She's been an inspiration, and it's been an honor to be represented by her as an assembly member in Astoria for many years. And I think about a senior who works at a child care center that I met in Sunnyside, Queens, who told me that I'm not a progressive, but I realized when I looked at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, they were the only ones who were willing to fight for me. Yeah. And that's what so many New Yorkers and Americans understand, is that these are the two individuals who have been willing to take on this oligarchy and actually stand up for dignity for Americans.
Before you go, one last thing. Bill Ackman.
And she comes back to Bill Ackman. So, of course, she has to round it up back to the let me discredit you. Oh, what I was going to show you before. So I like that. I think we're all saying that. But yes, after his music career, which was only in 2016, he released a single in 2019. But he actually, he was a volunteer in the Ali Najmi campaign in 2015 special election for the city council. In 2017, he joined the Democratic Socialists of America and worked for the campaign for New York City Council candidate. He's also served as campaign manager for Ross Barkan's 2018 bid for the New York State Senate. And he's also a field organizer for fellow Democrat Socialist Tiffany Caban, the 2019 campaign. So he was also part of the New York Assembly in 2020 till now. So and doing like a bunch of reform and stuff like that. So he is very qualified for this for politics and to be a mayor. He's definitely got the political background for it. He's definitely, no wonder he did such a great campaign, because he's got a history of campaigning for other people, or being part of the campaign management. So he's definitely qualified. Sure, he had a little stint as a rapper, but I don't think I think there was a way for them to discredit him and sort of continue that narrative. He's not good enough. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially because, like, let's be honest, he's a brown man, and rap is from brown people. Brown people are bad, so therefore, he was a rapper. He must be then stupid and all these other fucking dumb things. And that's like, they do that on purpose. You're like, so right. Like,
yeah, he did.
Wow, what a fucking G.
Yep. He walks the walk and he talks the talk, but he walks the walk. And I think that's what I like about people, is they don't They're not just saying things. It's the whole thing of Nicola Willis of like, I feel your pain. You know, I'm really sad because children. It's like, well, no, your kids are fine.
Yeah.
Your kids are fine. You
It's
you
other
wouldn't know
people's kids
poverty
who
if
need
it
the
hit
help.
you in the face. Fucking Luxon's the other one. You wouldn't know poverty if it hit you in the face. Like this whole idea of I feel sorry for you, but I don't have any clue about what your lived experience is like because I've just, you know, I maybe walked into a food shelter or a soup kitchen for public publicity,
Well,
but
yeah,
I
and he
actually
also
have no idea.
hasn't lived here for a good portion of his life. His children were not raised here. I think, though, what I really liked in terms of that clip at the end there, though, like, it
Yes,
feels
come back
like
to
what she was implying was kind of like, oh, so, like, this is kind of a shift more to the left, like a stronger left. All I could think in my head, you know, did you used to watch that show and it's like, move that bus? But just like, move that window. Like, this is what, that's definitely what they need, especially really bad. We definitely need more people to kind of come into that too. But I think it's really good to see that, like, not just New York, but America is getting more lefty and actual lefty, not this fake left. Yes, it was Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Fell right out of my head. Ty Pennington, I could remember his name.
Ty Pennington. Yep. TY.
Also, he had ADHD, or has ADHD.
Yep, I can see that.
And when I
100%.
learned that, I was like, that fucking makes so much sense now. But
It's so much energy and passion.
I
It's
also
great.
think this comment's great. Does that mean we get a diss track? Maybe not on Cuomo, but maybe now that he's in the main race, he can do a diss track against whoever's his opponent. Also, apparently the music video slaps and it's being shared in our Discord. So I'm going to
Cool.
have to listen to that
Thank
after
you.
the
I
after
can't
the
show you
show.
guys because we might get even more
Yeah,
demonetized.
don't want
but,
to get demonetized.
kick us off the platform. Yeah, so that was my positive of the week. Some parallels to what we see here in New Zealand, and it's always nice to critique the media and just sort of see what they're saying and how it kind of comes across. It certainly wasn't the worst of the worst. If you look at the New York Post, posts articles. Articles is a bit, they're very right wing. It's very obviously right wing. But their campaign against his was it's pretty bad. Some pretty awful stuff. In terms of like just obvious bias, obvious spins, and just things that aren't correct. So I'm really glad that he was able to change people's minds or get his campaign out there and win the Democratic seat, and hopefully he's the mayor in the future.
Yeah, I mean, to be
And let's
honest,
see what he can do with it.
I'd never heard of him. So I only
neither.
heard about him from this. Now I'm just like, okay.
Oh wait,
guess
at
I'll have
all?
to keep an eye- No, like I'd never heard of him at all. Like that name
Oh my
was
God.
completely foreign to me. Because to be honest, since we started doing BHN, I feel like I've just been so bogged down with like trying to stay up to date with the local stuff that I've definitely. I asked not to watch Philip DeFranco first thing today because I had to catch up on BHN. That's how fucking bad it's getting. I know.
Wow.
I know. I still got to
Damn,
watch it
girl.
later. But yeah, I've definitely been so out. I'm usually quite up to date with what's going up over there, but I'm just like, only the important stuff can get through right now because this shit here, like, I still care about what's happening over there, but I feel like there's too much for us to keep across.
I find watching stuff that is outside of the country makes me feel better.
No, that's totally valid. That's totally
like,
valid.
because I'm like, cool, what's America up to? And sometimes it's like, cool, they're more fucked up than we are. And sometimes it's like, hey, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. We might be okay.
I mean, it's like why, reality TV shows. Sometimes it's just nice to see dumb people that make you feel smart and like you got your life to fucking give it, Sometimes it's nice. I've been watching actually a bit of reality TV show recently because I think it's just been so heavy, eh? I don't know if you guys have watched it, but there's a one called Temptation Island. Dumbest premise I've ever fucking heard. stupidest.
It's so
especially as-
dumb.
especially as someone who's polyamorous, I'm just looking at this like, guys, what are you doing? But it's crazy, and it definitely makes me feel bitter about my life. That's for fucking sure. Because it's just so terrible.
The other one I recommend is Sneaky Links.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna add that
It's
on my list.
very good.
I'm gonna add that on my list because I need pure garbage. It's like, for me, I think of it as like candy and chips for your brain. You know, sometimes you just need a bit of junk.
All right, there's a couple of crunchies, so I'm
Yeah,
kind of today.
it's all right.
Sorry, I'm
Nah,
just
you're
deleting them.
fine.
I can't be bothered.
I was just letting them comment because I'm like, that's more views and it's good for the algorithm if we get more comments. So like, fuck, I don't mind as long as you're not going too crazy. But you know, I see the mods are keeping an eye, so that's fine.
It's me. I am the mods.
Oh, you did that one. I saw
I'm
one
just
earlier, so yeah.
deleting them off the face of the earth. Right. Well, I've spoken for far too long.
MILF Manor, that was great. That shit was wild.
It's weird. There's some weird shit. Meme it up. I think we're well.
Well, I think we should probably get
memes.
some of these super chats first before we meme.
Oh yeah,
because we've been leaving them there for a minute.
Do you want to go for them? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Kaimatara for $10. Zohran proves my article on political messaging right. You don't need centrist policies, Labour. You need to be radical with better messaging. We can afford better. Did you end up reading it? What you think?
Yes, I
did.
I very skimmed through it. I haven't been able to get through the whole thing, but if anyone's wondering what we're talking about, it's this one here, How to Beat Atlas Network by Kai Matata on the Substack. It's a really, really good read. I didn't get to all of it in detail, but I did appreciate some of especially this stuff about old Labour.
Yeah, no, I love.
And I really want to get more into Jacinda Ardern's campaign manager, I believe. Would love to read more about how she won within 6 weeks. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah, no, it was.
This can be done.
Yes, it can. All right, we got Mr. Arvid for $5. Kieran proudly calls himself a Democratic socialist in the House. Just saying. Well, that's why he's Hottie McAnulty. Duh. Because being a socialist,
and maybe it's a thing, you know, AOC, Zohran.
Right? I mean, it's a very
hotties.
good-looking side, you know.
I mean, Bernie's a looker. I fucking love Bernie. He's
yeah.
Him and his youth. Oh,
dapper young man.
Dapper is the word for sure.
Oh yeah. We got Rajan for $2. Watch Illuminati's Cuomo video for the tea on him. I've actually added that into my watch later, so thank you very much. It's in the ballot for $5. The right here the solution we would like to implement, aka benefit sections. Now let's find a problem for this solution. Well, they just fuck people on the benefit. Just kick them off. Make them homeless. She'll be right. Isn't that what this government's done? And then Kai Matata for $5. You can't balance the right-leaning seesaw by sitting in the middle. You must be on the far left because sitting in the middle just keeps you sliding right. That's a fucking great analogy using the seesaw. That we need to. Everybody make note of that analogy. Great fucking analogy. Always from Kai Matata though. Let's be real. And we'll, I think we'll leave that one for later. But there was an interesting comment that I just wanted to point out. Someone put in there, the golden age of the US, 1950s, was about high taxation for the rich to lift up those who were less fortunate. That was the American dream. So technically, American dream was taxes. They need to go back to their roots. I also really wanted to point out that I think this is the person, funnily enough, that might have got booted. But this was a great comment that if you're yearning for a significant economic shift, why must it be already established ideas instead of novelty? And I think that's a really good point, not just for economic shifts, but just in general. We do have to leave room for the fact that there may have to be some novel things that we try that haven't quite been done before. But yes, now we shall get into the memes. Send Kendall Jenner to Iran with a Pepsi immediately. And I feel like this might be a little millennial and Zoomer coded. So sorry if you don't know
do you
the
not know
reference.
it? Oh, you
no,
do know.
I
Okay.
do, but I'm just saying there might be people in the comments, chat, who aren't familiar with this. If you haven't seen the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad, it's great. It's art. I just told a conservative that American workers should own their American places instead of some economic elite. And they nodded and said, yeah, that makes sense. The number one cause of hating socialism is not knowing what it is. And that is a very fucking good point. Democrats shocked by success of left-wing candidate offering left-wing policies to left-wing voters. Fucking wild. Looks like you've got your Spanish lessons again. You know what happens now. Then red alert, rocket attacks Jerusalem, Tel Aviv. Spicy meme. But Duolingo does get pretty intimidating. The government will not hit any of its child poverty reduction targets. This isn't a meme. This is just Christopher Luxon being a complete mess. Luxon left me in charge and I'm keeping busy mocking people online. Call me David Trump from now on. Not a bad one. This is such a crazy, put together. The announcement of death of Osama bin Laden interrupts an airing of The Apprentice. Donald Trump bombs Iran. It is wild to think that is all within the same, century. We're not that far through. Oh, this is great. Breaking. ICE agents are complaining that every time they go out wearing masks in unmarked cars with no uniforms or identification as law enforcement to abduct people, protesters keep dumping pounds of glitter on them so that everyone can tell that they're ICE for days afterwards. And I absolutely endorse glitter bombing people because that shit sticks around. I also just really appreciate this this meme. So you'll notice it says 7th of December 41. Because this is basically saying what it would be like. Could you imagine if back in 1941 they were making tweets like, we have completed our very first successful attack on Hawaii. All planes are now outside of American space. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Pearl Harbor. All planes are safely way home. Congratulations to our Japanese warriors. It would be wild. These had, I believe this is an AI meme, which had an AI image, which I have covered with real photos because I'm trying not to have AI images. Please stop putting them in the meme chat. I will not put them up unless they're really funny. I'm also not going to say these ones because they're really long, but I will post these on Blue Sky. So we got Winston Peters with his Bachelor of Wokeness Suppression, and David Seymour gets his Bachelor's of White Fragility for lifelong excellence in performative indigeneity, weaponizing of his whakapapa, and all that.
Hey.
And then we have community memes, so we shall... Wait, do we have... did you have something else that you wanted to put in? Because I have a tiny little story, if not.
I do have two very small ones, but
All right,
just
let's
before
go.
we move away from the topic, you know how there's I'm not saying this, I mean this in a nice way, because it is a nice thing. You know how there's the rat boy trend, where basically guys...
No, yes, rat boy
there's
trend,
specific features that's really in at the moment. I don't know. It's Timothy Chalamet's and the guy that
which is
Sabrina
really
Carpenter
just
is dating.
twinks. Now we're just calling twinks rat boys. It's all the same thing.
But have you seen this dude? He did get really old really fast, or he's just a really old man. He's like
well,
a
no, he is
Winston.
really fucking old.
He is really old. But come on.
Yeah,
come
that one
on.
there. That one's
I want this guy voting for, come on. Look at him. Look at little baby.
He
Look
would
at
have
little
been
baby
very
Sanders.
successful in the emo times.
Definitely looked better once he got his glasses, but come on.
Right.
Cutie patootie. Anyways, that's all.
Just look how cute Bernie Sanders is.
Hang on, is this... Oh, this is even better.
Oh, wow,
right
nice.
here. 1963, go
Fuck yeah.
you.
My mum wasn't even born then.
And he's still going.
That's fucking awesome. I fucking
Yes.
love that.
Carry on.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen, but they've been talking about whether they should means test superannuation.
Oh,
I don't know if you've heard about this or seen much
Interesting.
about it. I was listening to, it was a Checkpoint, RNZ's radio show, I guess. And they were talking about the fact that actually, so I didn't actually realize personally, but I know people have talked a little bit about the fact that Winston got the super for like 8 years or something crazy like that, even though he earns mad fucking money. And so they were having a bit of conversations around the fact that if we go based off of census 2023 data, so we're using the census data, but it showed that more than 9,000 people aged over 65 were earning more than $200,000 a year, with another 33,000 earning between $100,000 and $200,000. And it turns out that because the superannuation is essentially a universal basic income, but only for old people, which I thought was interesting when I realized that, because they used the term universal benefit, I believe, which I just found interesting, the fact that it's technically a universal income, but I'm sure if you asked Winnie his thoughts on a UBI, like for everyone, he would absolutely kick a fit. And I just found it interesting because how they said there is 33,000 people who are earn between $100,000 and $200,000 would still be able to get super entitlements. And I was like, I'm poor. Those numbers don't really feel real to me. What does that mean? So that means that anyone who earns essentially 1,436 between 1,436 per week, all the way up to $2,690 per week, would still be entitled to $222 a week from the government, even though someone who isn't on anywhere near that much, you have, I think, the salary of approximately $765 versus $2,400, so that's the numbers we're working with, they would only be entitled to $444, which means that those who are earning well over double, more like triple their salary, are entitled to 50%, like the kind of amount that they're getting, which those numbers are fucked. And it's interesting, and I hope they do actually look to do, I mean, I don't know if this current government would do that, because obviously Winston would probably kick up a stink, but I think it's really interesting to see that there's actually a lot of money that's potentially going to people who already earn a lot of fucking money all the time. And it's also wild to me that we'll do that for, retirees. And like, don't get me wrong, you pay your taxes all your life. I totally understand that part. But if you're comfortably living on thousands a week, you don't need to be topped up from the government an extra couple $100. Like what? That extra couple $100 might just go in your savings, or might go on, I don't know, a fucking golf club membership, or whatever how old people do with their retirements. I don't know. But yeah, it just seems a bit ridiculous that we don't allow those types of universal basic incomes for any other, demographic, especially students, given the fact that we're hoping that they'll get educated and then be able to get higher paying jobs and be able to contribute more to the country that they live in. Like, rather than, not to sound grim or anything, people who are going to die soon and not really contribute much, and they might just get sick. Again, still happy for them to have their money, but it does seem a little topsy-turvy to me. Oh, did you mute yourself?
Sorry.
That's all good.
Do you want me to add to that story for you?
Yes, sure, go for it. I didn't realize you
So
were
the IRD has warned that the government needs to increase taxes. It says increase in 2060, but I think it means by 2060.
Yeah.
Based on the article. But to cope with the aging population, government, in government spending, which is things like the superannuation. So Inland Revenue is warning that unless the government spends its money on changes, taxes will need to increase in the coming years to cope with an aging population. It's currently seeking submissions on its latest long-term insights briefing, which I haven't found, but I will try and find that. In the coming years, if the current settings are maintained, government spending as a proportion of the economy will rise. A core driver of these fiscal pressures is that New Zealand's population is aging. By 2060, a quarter of the population will be older than 65. So those are the people that are... the amount of government needs to spend on superannuation and healthcare will increase if the government maintains current policies. So obviously, if you're over 65, tend to be aging and need
Wait,
more
well, that'll be
support.
us.
Well, there you go. That's fuck
And
me.
also,
That's us.
that goes with a comment that I just laughed at. You know, they'll only start means testing super once millennials start getting it. Also, oh man, that's us.
That's right. We're at the bottom end of millennials. We're good. We're good. We're good.
You know, but I did the math. That's 25 years from, was it 35 years from, was it 25 or 35? No, 35 years from now. And
35,
we're
yeah.
30. 30 plus 35 is 65. We'll be exactly 65. That's,
Right at the time, we'll be fucked.
YOLO.
So the Treasury predicted that the government expenditure will exceed government revenue by 13% of GDP by 2060 if the government takes no response to fiscal pressures. The existing taxes would need to be levied at a higher rate, such as higher levels of income tax or GST, or there would need to be new taxes implemented. And they talk about our tax is more limited in terms of our capital gains than other OECD countries. There's a general absence of capital gains tax. There's this is fascinating. It pointed to an estimate for a tax broking group report in 2019 that if a capital gains tax took effect from 2022 tax year, it would raise about $3 billion in the 2026 tax year. That's a lot of money. That's like a lot of money.
$1.1 billion more than they gave to landlords. Just saying.
That's still a good amount of money.
No, that is. That's great. And I mean, also, you know what else we could have got heaps of tax money off? If we legalized cannabis back in the referendum, we would have had an amazing revenue because let's be fucking honest, New Zealanders most of us smoke weed and we just like act like it's not a fucking thing. But yet, I bet if you don't smoke weed in the chat, you definitely know someone who does. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's so normalized, yet we're not doing the smart thing and just making like tax off of it. Like I shouldn't be able to go to New World and buy like 1,000 different types of craft beer, but I can't go to a dispensary and find the medicine that is actually targeting what I need. Stupid.
So the other thing they said was GST was a substantial source of tax revenue. If it were to be increased, there would be concerns about the effect on lower income households. I love that they've made this part of it because this is a really good point. While wealthier households pay more GST overall, poorer households spend more of their money on GST because it's relative. You know, if you're earning $1,500 a week and you're paying maybe $200 or so on food a week, but someone who's only earning $500 a week is paying $200 on food, they're only left over with $300 as opposed to $1,300. So that's a very good point made. So GST could be applied at a lower rate on some goods and services that were bought by lower income households, or there could be an assistance via the welfare system to help those households. Several international and New Zealand-focused studies have shown that using cash transfers is a more cost-effective way to target assistance to lower-income groups compared to applying lower rates to certain goods and services. Several countries have implemented permanent GST offset schemes for this reason. This is fascinating. The report used modelling of GST at 18%. That's a huge, and that's a pretty big increase already. Like 18%. That's a lot of money. A lot of GST.
Yeah.
So there's also things like the payroll tax, wealth tax, inheritance tax, land and property tax, which could also add to the tax bases in the New Zealand system. There were trade-offs for all of them. So payroll taxes provide a means of shifting the balance of taxation away from capital income onto labour income, but they are likely to have some disadvantages relative to GST and income tax. Wealth taxes are likely to impose higher distortion. So this is where I wasn't 100% sure. I don't know if you can correct this. I'm not a tax expert. Should have got Brabba. Wealth taxes are likely to impose higher distortionary costs than a broad-based income tax, and they face similar challenges to those that would make an idealized income tax that includes accrued capital gains impractical.
Okay, well, distortionary costs refer to negative effects that taxes and other governmental interventions have on economic behavior, leading to inefficiencies and reduced overall welfare. So I guess it's like, how sometimes they talk a bit about like, it's not just a cost of what you're spending the money on, it's a cost of what you're not spending on, where those things will have effects, I believe.
And they actually, yeah, it starts making sense now. So inheritance taxes are likely to have similar distortionary costs to income taxes when people are intentional donors, but they have much lower distortionary costs when people are unintentional donors. And then land taxes are widely seen as one of the least distortive taxes. They impose fewer distortionary costs than property taxes or stamp duties. So, however, they would have a significant impact on certain groups, as with any tax, providing preferential tax treatment to certain groups, or in certain situations, would tend to increase efficiency costs and reduce horizontal equity on some margins. So IRD said that this underscored the importance of income tax and GST being designed in a way that was as efficient and fair as possible, while having the flexibility to adjust to changing revenue needs. So there's some good stuff in there. It's nice that something like the IRD, which I guess it's their department, is pointing to this stuff and saying we need changes. Here's the evidence. We are going to be in a shitty situation. It's going to end up like bloody rates where it's like, don't raise the rates, don't touch my rates. And then suddenly we have to increase them by 20% or so, and people are freaking out.
No, yeah, absolutely. I also, this comment here, just how about that? In that same one, Chloe and Craig made a great point of how we don't calculate loss of earnings and big picture types of things. Yeah, like there is a lot that can be affected. And I mean, we definitely need, and because like I know you mentioned earlier about how like with land taxes and stuff, and I kind of thought about the rates issue, and I know that people get all like fucking thing about rates, and for me the rates issue is less about the rates shouldn't go up, and it's more about the fact that local government shouldn't be forced to only have like one main like stream of revenue. Like the government gets way proportionally a lot more money, and yet they expect the councils and the local governments to do so much more with so much less as well. Like, I think we need to also, like, those systems, I imagine they'll be making things so much worse, because how could they not? They will have an effect on each other, and they're, yeah, it just seems like there is a lot of issues with that, and I don't see, I guess I'm just feeling hopeless right now, because I'm like, I don't see this government prioritizing that. But I guess we should probably just go into the last memes, and I just wanted to do one little community update.
Before you
Yeah.
setting it up. Is this saying, I'm not a math person, and I don't know if this is being facetious. Is that saying 18%, 3% is 20% of 18, therefore it's a 20% increase?
Well, it's based off
To
of the
18?
original number. Yeah, so
No,
15%.
15. So 15, yeah.
15% is the
20%.
current rate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So 3% is technically, those three numbers are technically proportionally a lot bigger difference, because
Yes.
if you take, whatever 3 is out of 15, then math.
Yeah. So it's technically a 20% of 15% increase, but it's
Yes, which is
from
3%.
15 to 18, which is only 3% increase. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, but then I was like talking about the stupid thing before, and I'm like, no, that lady from the interview, don't know how she got 50%. At least she made 15%.
No, yeah, they're basically saying that, that increase is technically a 20% increase. However, 20% increase on the number 15 is not that much. It's the same way we talked about the fact that, like, workers got, like, what, 1.5% increase in the fucking minimum wage, which only equals like $1 something, whereas Christopher Luxon's pay rise was 2%, and that equaled hundreds of dollars. I think it was hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. I can't remember now. A lot, anyway.
Carry on.
Do math.
Carry on, my friend. Carry on.
Yeah, no, you're good. Well, because obviously we have talked a bit about Takutai's passing, and so I thought we'd just do Te Pāti Māori put up a post about the tangihanga. So I just thought I'd give people a bit of an update in case they're interested in going. So why does Facebook do this? So they are going to be departing Huani Waititi Marae at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, the 28th of June, which is tomorrow. And I believe they're opening it up. They're opening it up to the public at some point during this. So if you go to Te Pāti Māori's, they're also looking if people wanted to donate to help the family with, costs and stuff like that. And then she's going to her marae in Taihape, and they'll have a funeral service in Taihape on Tuesday for her. So if you want to know more about that, just keep up with Te Pāti Māori's page. They're obviously letting everybody know as things go and as things change. I also, funnily enough, noticed a real interesting difference. I was going through Takutai's Facebook page, and I noticed a stark difference between the type of post you see on her page versus, say, the types of posts you'd see on, like, David Seymour's page. Obviously, we've all seen what the motherfucker's been posting recently. But, like, it's his is all negative or, like, very grandiose self kind of, fucking filleting type behavior, whereas her page was full of her being in the community, her talking about her family, her being actively involved in trying to get people to do submissions. Like, it's just such a stark difference. And I guess I know that myself, I've been feeling very frustrated because I'm like, we've lost Efeso in the Greens Party, and now we've lost Takutai and Te Pāti Māori. And it just feels like it's the wrong side of the house. That, like, we have such amazing people, and especially those two people, especially because they were so enmeshed in their community. They were actually real fucking humans who were going out there and doing stuff. And it's just so fucking depressing, basically, to see that someone who was so not just positive and thing, but she was productive and helpful, and she'd only just turned 50 years old. She was fucking young. Like, she's younger than my parents. And it's just really, really sad to see that. But I also just noticed there is a real stark difference between the way that our left MPs post and interact with the community versus how the right seem to be posting. It feels like it very much shows you what priorities they have. And most of them are their own. But let's go into the memes to feel happy. My idea, this is also a meme template that is available in the Discord. So head over to the Discord if you would like to find the template and make your own. We've got my ideology is very serious. Your political theory is based on Atlas, shrugged by Ayn Rand, a literal fictional book. Yeah. Also, I love this this little like communism, socialism twist on a Emperor's New Groove meme. Love it. Yeah, how the left loses. Attacking the left, Chippy. How the left wins. Being absolutely fucking determined and passionate to be leftists. I also I edited this meme. There was no words in the inside, so I decided to name them. Got benefits of being on the national national prime minister, being liked and respected, economic management growth, cheap groceries, none of that. But 2.9 billion tax cuts, more 16.4% more Kiwis are on benefits, and dairy farmers get more profit from high butter prices because they're all shareholders. We've had some people making some edits. I believe this was Citizen Gold who made this one. Not allowed near schools. Nonce of the day. David Snapchat Seymour. You want to gouge mine Gorman for calcite, but you don't know the planet's population? I mean, make it make sense. This was the original one that Pat thought I might have made it. I did not make it. It was Kiwi Bib. But yes, cringe lord syndrome, victim of the day. RO just made this one based off of your bromance theory. Just went and got one of the Kiwi Pulses. We love Kiwi Pulse. This government will be laser focused on growth. Oh, then you'll be stoked at the huge growth of political class consciousness all over New Zealand, eh? Not like that. Don't get woke. Watch Willis. This is not a lolly scramble budget. Meanwhile, literally is. Yeah, well, because to be fair, all of them have little things of lollies. So you'll see because they're there for quite a long time.
Yeah, it's true.
You see after quite a few hours, someone will just start. Like, I think Kieran was handing out some lollies last time I was in question time. This one. I'll read the submissions. I oppose the Regulatory Standards Bill. That's 131,000 submissions against David Seymour's Regulatory Standards Bill. David, the tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go. And my God, what I would give to have this actually happen in real life. Oh, that would be beautiful. Just snuffing out the flame. I need that.
I just had the exit music for that show, which is waiting. I've watched too much Survivor.
Oh, that's great. I haven't actually watched it in quite some time, but actually, no, now it's playing in my head. Get out. This was just an edit from last week's meme. Me not watching the news because if it's important enough, I'll know about it from BHN. Which
literally,
I love that. I love that people trust us like that. Oh yeah, I asked to have this edited. So we got Happy Pride Month. Political differences can never get in the way of true love. And because I remember saying to you, I wanted to make a fan cam edit. I made a fan cam edit. Hashtag romance theory. I've got to post it on Blue Sky, actually.
Can someone please make a hashtag bromance theory TikTok and just like make an actual like fan cam?
Oh my God. Yes, I wish
K-pop style fan cam.
Yeah. I need you to scrub through hours of them looking at each other and do weird zooms to make it look like they're going to kiss each other. Like, this is what I need in my life. I also just went and typed in fan cam emojis, and you could just find so many emojis. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now we have non-political meme time because it's been rough. Top secret, bottom secret. Beans Mexican food versus beans British food. I fucking hate baked beans. Hey brain, how's it going? Yeah. Be like that sometimes. I kind of love this. I'm not a fan of Batman, but like this is so cool and I want it.
It's pretty cool.
I want to see how big I can open my mouth. Okay. It's just dumb. And this one actually was
Ooh.
just one that I kind of came across today that I saw, and it's like, kindness isn't about making big promises, like helping out the squeezed middle in this country, flattering people, like being overly nice. Kindness is about offering real support, celebrating other people's wins, truly listening, standing up for others, acting with empathy, being honest, remembering the details, and giving specific praise. Just a reminder that yes, the top does not make you a nice person. You have to holistically be a nice person. And then I wanted to make sure that we ended the way that we started, admiring this
Yeah.
beautiful artwork of a very, very, very amazing MP who unfortunately will not get to help fight for us. Oh, and yeah, the quote is just, our first port of call is to be there and to be unapologetic for Māori. And that's one thing that I really did love about the way that she conducted herself. And obviously a lot of Te Pāti Māori, but yeah, just... We're still stuck with David Seymour. This just doesn't feel fair, guys. Does not feel fair.
You control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to grow our community. We're not alone in this world, and there is hope. If you take away anything from what's happened in the political space this week, there are good people out there. There is hope. Good people are winning. We just have to keep pushing them, knock on doors.
Also, this comment will make people feel better. David Seymour is the kind of guy that would totally wear a suit on a beach. He fucking is. But no, I mean, I'm loving the fact that we're building this community. I mean, like, I think the boys were pointing out the fact that the chat made comments about the endorsement and, you know, the logo being on David's defamatory fucking targets of academics. You know, this chat, we use that collective knowledge, you know. The amount of people who have been sending us, you know, articles and news that we might not have seen is awesome. Like, we're creating our own network because we kind of have to, because look, they're destroying fucking any kind of media reporting, really, underfunding it and all that shit. We need to be able to be a collective, go back to this more collectivism rather than this individualism that has not been serving us. Doesn't mean we have to get rid of all of the aspects of individualism, but there's definitely some that can go. Oh yeah, I like this one, Big Hairy Network. Although, to be fair, I haven't talked to Pat about it yet, but he wanted me to do a Facebook group, and I have come up with a Facebook group and a Facebook group name, but I haven't told him yet, so I can't tell you guys. But I'll probably send him an email this week. Because I came up with a name for our audience, and it's really good, and I'm going to tell you after the show, but no one else. Secrets! Bottom secrets!
Sad to say, Seymour is not a kind of person that wears a suit at the beach, but I did get this photo from himself in Timaru.
Timaru, even. Oh my god.
Which led me down a rabbit hole of another photo that I saw, which was him and Nikki K from 2017 at the Pride March, I assume, or Pride Week. That's an image in itself. And then the article that image before was from is being an island nation in a pandemic world presents opportunities, ACT Party leader says. That is, in 2020, that is a different tone. It's probably
because they wanted to get their fingers in and do some slow corruption. I don't fucking trust the count.
It's
trust them at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird world we live in.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, no,
The
you
meme-
might have read the rest of the article. He's still a dickhead.
I was gonna say the memes are supposed to help. I don't feel like we had strong enough memes tonight. I think we need something a little
Oh
harder.
no.
What?
Sorry.
Oh. Whoa, what happened, guys? Ems ran away. Oh no. Atlas Network got my co-host. What do I do? I'm going to actually look at the comments because I think we do have a couple of super chats. So while Ems isn't here, I will say super chats. But it's in the ballot for $5. The right, oh wait, no, I read that one. Sorry. That was, I didn't unstar it. Laura to Kiwi Burb for $2. Jacinda's problem was she wasn't a bald rich man. So accurate. Kaimatara for $5. Want to make Winston angry? Point out that his whanaunga King Kuroki gifted Mao Zedong a korowai. Winston's great-great-grandfather is Portato. Wow. He must be disappointing his tipuna for real. And then we've got a $5 from Ryden. Speaking of the weed referendum, Arizona narrowly voted against it as well in 2016, but then passed it with a 60% support 4 years later. I mean, I've been waiting for the referendum to come back around on that one, but like, yeah, I'm salty as fuck about that referendum still to this day. So Atlas brought you back. You good?
I was reading. I'm just reading the comments. No, I heard what I thought was the cat crying, and then maybe it was just the neighbor's baby. It's a noise I've heard from. They're quite similar, but it's a noise I've heard from her before, and there has been a cat that's decided to make its way into our house a few times.
I see. Yes.
But I think it was the baby. They was like, oh shit, is there a cat outside or inside of our house? It's not supposed to be there. But
I do really struggle sometimes to define whether it's a cat or a baby sometimes, you know. They do sound very fucking similar to each other.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they sadly do. All right. Well, I think that's it from us, is it?
Well, yeah, the only comment I had started was Extreme Makeover Parliament. That would be a great Extreme Makeover. Where's Ty Pennington? Let's get him in here. He can move the bus.
Move that bus. It's been an interesting week. It's been a good show. We do like a good show. I hope you guys have had a 2-hour show. Anyone? That's just our regular show these days.
Mm-hmm.
So much to do.
And I mean, we might be doing a little bit tomorrow on Aotearoa tonight, but we might not have a full 2 hours. We'll see how it goes.
Make sure you catch that on the YouTubes.
If you want to know what's going on, follow the B Sky. That's what. To be fair, I actually use Blue Sky so much more than like most of the social medias now. It's great. I much prefer it.
Yeah, that's good. I do a sort of weekly check-in.
Yes.
I have like a little check-in. I do a bit of a rant. I repost some stuff, and then I disappear.
Oh yeah, pull a Pat basically.
That might be
dumping
that might
around.
be better in the future, but for now, that's what you get.
Yeah.
But other than that, Magenta and I assume Rogers will be on with next week, and I'm going to be away for the next couple of weeks because I'm gonna go do lovey-dovey stuff with.
Oh yes, so next week and what? So the 4th and the 11th. Woo! July is going to start with me and Rogers.
You've got the unhinged kitties,
right? Oh, nah.
No.
She'll be right. She'll be right.
You're in good
hands. I'm sure I won't steer the boat completely off course.
No, you'll be right. So
right. And when Ems comes back, oh my god, this is the last time we'll see you as an unmarried woman. Oh.
I mean, we've been together for like 15 years. So I've
been
but like,
I know, but like,
it'll be legally, but
you know, it's like being Facebook official. You know, it's a different level, right?
Back then when we started dating, I suppose it was a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm old. Anyways.
Right. Also, y'all have been together for 50% of your lives. It's kind of based.
It's weird.
It's going to be more than 50% from now on.
I know. will have been together for
cute.
longer than not. That is pretty cute.
Aw, that'd
Pretty
be
lucky.
adorable. Well, I hope
right.
that you both have a good pre-wedding and wedding and post-wedding.
Yep. And I hope to get lots of like a virgin married for the very first time.
See, I get it.
That's kind of funny. All right. If I do this and I do this, and I do this, what does this do? Oh, it does do it.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting bees from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a warpath to run, linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by what Chewie and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
Thanks for tuning in with us on Bright Hairy News Friday edition of Big Hairy News Magenta. Anything to say before we go?
Well, if you want to come hang out and you don't know, I do have a channeled Aotearoa tonight. We will be hanging out, talking about some bit of the news and maybe talk some more about some of the numbers that we've seen tonight. So yeah, hope you guys have a good weekend, and I might see you tomorrow.
Yes, otherwise you'll see Magenta and Rogers next Friday at 9 p.m. and I'll see you in a couple
Yes.
weeks. And the boys on
Yeah.
Monday.
A lot going
Catch you
on.
later, pause.
Yeah, keep up till after school. Bye.
Whoa, whoa. They're still here. That's
Wrong
not
way.
how it works.
Hide.